Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. Whew, another episode and another reason to love your HBCU. Chinedu and Namdeen Wokia for CNN. You and I have spent an entire summer together. How has it been for you? It's been amazing for me. How's it been for you?
It is amazing. I think it gets better every time.
Yes, we have, Lord have mercy, thanks to Generation Next thought leaders, we have talked about, can we talk about what the Republicans get right, what the Democrats get right. We've dabbled, we didn't dabble, we went full on into surviving and negotiating racism. We've had some heavy subjects this summer, and listen, they're ending it for us, or they've thrown a topic at us that ends our summer episodes for season 2, I think quite appropriately, and it is, can we talk about the worth of a college degree? Now, so we were told college was the answer, um, but Black graduates still earn less, still owe more, and still fight to prove their worth in rooms they paid to enter. Meanwhile, if you've been checking out the statistics lately, plumbers, coders, content creators, they're making real money, no cap and gown needed. So, we're talking about it. Chinedu, is college still worth it, or is it time to redefine success?
Yes, college is worth it, and I think it's super important. However, it is what you do with what you learn that is going to be worth more than that degree. That degree in itself, to me, isn't what's worth a lot. It is the experience. And I often hear people say, like, when they're in a scenario, they'll say
Mm-hmm.
something like, that reminds me of Morgan and Montebello. Like, if I could get through this at Morgan. And none of it is actually speaking towards the coursework, it's speaking towards the life work. So I think college degree is still worth it, but it has to be accompanied with some other skill or talent.
So I love the okay. Most people who are not new to us know that Tosin is always in her own therapy session as we're going through these episodes, and I'm always writing down notes. And I love the statement, it's not always about coursework, it's about life work. I wrote that down. Um, let's go here for a hot second. I it's no secret to most people who know me well that I did not love college. Granted, sure, I graduated undergrad in 3 years, 3 years in a summer to be accurate. I did my master's in 1 year, and I did my doctorate, sorry, give or take in 4 years. I think I'm accurate in saying 4 years. It might have been a little less than that. And I did all of it straight through, no breaks. I was done about 23. Yes, right? Yeah, gasp. Um, and this is speaking as somebody who did not like college. I'm sure if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have gone directly into graphic design and artistry and so on and so forth. But we're here now, right? Um, we're here now. um, the there that I wanted us to go to is, I personally find that we conflate, because what I just heard you describe is getting an education, not necessarily a college degree. And through this episode, I want us to tease the difference between those two. Because I find, especially in the West, we conflate those two things to be one and the same, i.e., are you truly educated if you don't have a college degree? And yeah, I want your take on that. If you don't have a college degree, can you really consider yourself educated? And I want you to get into the nuance of that.
Yes, because I mean, yes and no, right? Like, think about somebody who can drive. You know, you hear a lot of stories, especially for those in the South. My mom or my grandfather taught me how to drive. Back in the old country or whatever. And by all intents and purposes, they drive probably well. But then the law says you have to have a piece of
Mm-hmm.
paper that
Mm-hmm.
says that you have
Mm-hmm.
satisfied all of the da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
both are important. And I think we live in a time where we actually placate one more than the other, when in
Yeah.
truth, you need a bit of both. I'll never forget this gentleman went to my church. He also worked at my institution, Morgan State. And, he was colleagues with my father, who also worked at an HBCU. And, my dad said, talk to him. He'll lead you to where you need to go or whatever. And he said something to me freshman year that was so confusing.
Okay.
He said, you go to college to get everything you need. He said, once you get it, you'll open your eyes and you're at graduation. And I'm like, okay. So then you go to your advisors and you see the breakdown of the sheets of the
Mm-hmm.
15 credit for
Mm-hmm.
this and 15 credit
Sure.
for this semester or whatever, your breakdown. And I did that. And I'm like, okay, I need to get everything I need. This is what he was talking about. But it wasn't until, wait for it, 7 years later, because I was in college for 7 years, not ashamed to
He
say it.
was.
It wasn't until 7 years later that I realized exactly what he meant. It's not just about the coursework, like, it is also the life work, it's the experiences. Um, Something as simple as our relationship or this recording, like, it is not my coursework that got me to this position to be doing this with you. It
Mm,
was the
mm.
life work that existed in that biome of coursework, if you will. And I think a lot of times people forget the combination makes the perfect educated person. It is both. What do I mean by that? I'll give you a really interesting example.
Go for
Gotcha.
it. What? Sorry. What did you say?
I said, I'm gonna give you a really interesting example. I said, I got to.
I
So
got you. Okay. Okay.
I often think about, it was a time where the Boeing airplane, the 737 MAX airplanes or whatever, the specific variant, I think is the MAX 10 or something like that. There was a crash in Ethiopia. There was a Lion Air crash. And after the investigation of the black box, it turns out that it was a software issue, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I can't get into the specifics, but basically, the software was supposed to correct something,
Okay.
right? The issue now becomes that the pilots were so trained in the coursework of what the software was supposed to do that when a real life situation came, it's almost as if they couldn't revert back to what they know about
Mm,
flying itself. And I
mm,
think that is a great example of what you see in our society. It's these people who said, I went to Harvard and Yale and Brown or what have you. But then when it comes time for the practicum, to put all those examples into play, they miss it because they were so lost, entrenched in the work itself, that no one's actually playing out the real life scenario of what that looks like. And if you cannot apply what you've learned, then you're just memorizing and repeating. You're not bringing any special sauce, if you will, into the space of whatever you have learned.
so so listening to you, do you Hmm. Why has English been failing me lately? Um do you do you think that the question isn't the worth of a college education, but one truly dealing with the nuances of where the values of that college education is? And I keep on saying college education intentionally,
Mhm.
even though that's not what they
Mhm.
asked me to talk about. They just asked me to talk about the college degree.
Mhm.
But I think if, let me say it, I think if one just focuses on the college degree, Tosin, with her doctorate and her master's and her BA, will tell you, no, I don't think it's worth it. Sorry, going to say that. If one just focuses on the degree. And it's why I'm editing what Generation Next has asked me to talk about. And I keep
Mhm.
saying the college education as opposed to just the degree.
Mm.
Because even as one listens to what you've just shared, take the word education off of it. Is the college degree worth it? Take the education off of it. Take the word education off of it. Is the college degree, is that piece of paper by itself worth it without all the life work that you just mentioned, and so many other things that I know we're going to add to this conversation? Just that piece of paper. And by worth, how do you not put a monetary value next to it? The student loans that students are still paying, that become a noose around the necks of so many HBCU students and alum. Is it worth it without the word education associated with it?
No, and it has nothing to do with the college and everything to do with the society. Because what I
Okay.
also noticed is me and my colleagues when we graduated undergrad, doesn't matter what the degree is, doesn't matter. Um, Everybody didn't get a job.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody didn't get the jobs they were looking for, or all that schooling that they did at those interest rates. If you're doing a regular federal government loan or a parent plus, it didn't equate to getting the job. And unfortunately, it's not about the paper itself, it's about where you got the paper from. That's what I'm
Mm.
also learning. It doesn't matter how intelligent I am or how I was. I'll talk about my old job. I loved working for the federal government. But what I realized is, okay, it's 100 something people in here that work at my program. Less than 10 of us went to an HBCU. So what is that now telling me? And when I'm saying HBCU, I'm talking about Howard and Morgan, like big time, even somebody who went to Morehouse. That is our Ivy Leagues, if you want to look at it that way.
Mm-hmm,
Uh,
mm-hmm.
it didn't matter. We were still not many in that room. And that bothered me because what you're now saying, and it's so accurate, you want people with the exact same experience. You don't want people that have a diverse. Where are the minority serving? No one even talks about the MSIs
MSIs,
at
yeah.
all, minority serving
Not as much,
institutions.
yeah.
Uh, so it's when you look at bills that get passed, let's look at it from American government perspective. When I look at bills that get passed, I almost want to do some type of audit to say what type of school did they go to, public versus private, state. You know why I say that? Because the issues, what I know living in inner city Baltimore, you might not feel in Ithaca if you went to Cornell, or in Cambridge if you went to Harvard. So if you're getting those folks who all went to the same place, it's no surprise that people like me who have what I would call the experience that is more consistent with everyday America, because I was living in it. I wasn't
Mm.
as a hidden biome. I was in an urban city of Baltimore. Uh, but then all of a sudden, it's all of those people who are not from those areas who are in the workplace. But then I'm gonna take you a step further. But then you ask, what are the jobs that they're doing? Oh, let's go there. A lot of them, their jobs are to help people in the urban areas which they never attended. And I think that's why, I hate to go political again, but no, I don't. I think that's why a lot of Republican voters, for instance, or the average American voter, felt like kind of the Democrats kind of left them aside, because what happened, and we know this about education, education is just this big match of volleyball of who is more erudite than the next. And whether you like it or not, while you're getting an education, you're also learning attitudes and attributes that you now put on your education, because your professor comes in and say, yes, you must call me doctor, you must call me professor. So you kind of feel that ego a little bit. And I feel like sometimes that's what happens to the
Mm.
college educated person. It becomes another means to say, I am better. or better yet, you
Wow.
haven't made it here.
Ooh. It's the ooh. We
I, I went to many places.
Do you see my face? My
I,
face is like, really? You went there? Are we going there? Or are we Oh, you know where I want us to go though, where we must go to because you quite literally have teed it up for me. And that is examining whether that statement that education is the great equalizer has it really ever been true? But before we get into that, I won't forget, before we get into that, because again, you teed it up perfectly. You know, I've got to throw a rapid 67 at you.
I was
So
hoping you forgot.
yeah, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. You've had so many of them from me this summer that you're like, "Oh, here she goes again." But this one, let's see how fun this is. Okay, 67 seconds on the clock. Rapid, our last rapid 67 together this
Mhm.
summer. All right, Chinedu, degree or debt?
Ah, degree.
Degree. Ooh, major in passion, major in purpose, or major in paycheck? You can only pick one.
Because you know I was about to mix all three together. Passion, purpose, or paycheck?
Yes.
Purpose.
Purpose. 4 years on campus or 2 years with a professional license?
In the beginning? Or period?
Just four
Okay.
years total. 4 years on campus, 4 years for the degree, or 2 years with a professional license.
4 years on campus.
Okay. Gap year or go straight to college?
Gap year if you can.
Gap year if you can. Drop out like Mark Zuckerberg. I like this one. Drop out like Mark Zuckerberg or stick it out like Obama.
Stick it out like Obama.
Stick it like, okay, okay. Ooh, connections or credentials?
Connect. What connections? Please.
Connections.
Please. Have you seen who's in office? Okay.
Stu- Student loan forgiveness or free public college?
Free public college.
Okay, okay. I've been told that my
Ooh.
time's up, but I want to squeeze in this one last question because I
Let's do
really
it.
like
Let's
this
do it.
one. Trade school or traditional college? Again, you can
Trade
only pick one.
school. Trade school.
Trade school. Trade school.
Can we
Wait,
start with that
Sinead,
one?
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me tell y'all a funny story. My first real job wasn't even, and I say real job is like serious. I worked at my university after I graduated. Thank you to my university for actually finding me a space. I served, if you will. And when I finally got a job, it was more or less when I got my master's. And I worked for a construction company. Um, Again, plugging this in, shout out to why living on campus works because it was somebody who I knew on
Mm,
campus
mm.
who made a big influence in me getting my job. Okay. Back to
Connections.
connections. So I'm working there and it's a construction site and we're building a great construction site, building a data center. For I don't work for them anymore, so I can say we're building a data center for a company, Cloud HQ. Cloud HQ builds it. We build a data center for Cloud HQ. Cloud HQ leases out the data racks for the different
Okay,
companies,
okay,
Microsoft, the federal government, etc.
okay,
So we're
okay.
building this, and it's hot, but I am in my wonderful articulated air conditioned trailer, feeling great because of that paper. And I said, "Oh, I don't got to be out in the heat." Until one day we had to do a meeting with the trades meaning like electrical, plumbing, etc., etc.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And I ran into somebody who was doing, what is it called again? My goodness. It's, I think it's not forklift, but it's uh, for lack of better words, I'm going to say the cherry picker. The thing that goes all the way up. I can't think of its
Mm-hmm.
name right now. Doesn't matter. I was just talking to him because human beings. And I didn't know it, but I was doing it, kind of pushing my, shoulder out. We're talking about where'd you go to school and stuff like that. And somehow we got into like what he does. And he's like, yeah, I didn't go to school, I got a trade or whatever. Da, 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 da. But here's what he then told me. He's like, yeah, I'm out here like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, and I make $100 an hour. And I'm like, so he can make what I make in half of the day
In half of the day.
and with zero of the debt. And that's when I realized that that degree, to for one, the way at least it's sold is to make you feel like you've done better. But the truth of the
Yeah.
matter is, depending on what you want to do or how you want to do
Yes.
it, because same thing for the people in HVAC. You know, I know somebody who went to college and their brother started making more money than they did and didn't go to college.
Yeah.
And ask yourself this: what if we did it in reverse? What if we worked on trades in high school, or maybe right after high school, made a bit of money, then went to college? Because now, for instance, that person who works that lift, I can't think of its name still, or the HVAC person, 2 years of making real money, no debt, they can go to school and pay for it. Do well after a year and get a scholarship, right? Because we always say you can get a scholarship, but even if you get a scholarship after the first year, you've still acquired debt with interest rates. So it just makes me feel like, who is playing the game the smartest?
Hmm.
Does it matter that you feel bigger? I think about this back to my airplane example. Does it matter that you feel bigger, like a Boeing 777 or a Boeing 8, Airbus A380 with
Sure.
4 engines, right? That's the degree.
Yeah.
But then the smaller plane with the 2 engines is actually more efficient. And I think efficiency should hold a higher rank in how one does life. Because it's not just about college, it's really about life. And
Yeah.
if I could do it all over again, I would have wanted to have a trade first before I went to college. Because I'm still trying to figure it out even now at 32 years of age.
Yeah. You always say a lot,
I
and
know.
it's the question is what does one tease into, right? Um, with everything you've said, and especially the manner in which you addressed the tradesman that was at your previous job at the construction company, I want to go back
Hmm.
to education being the great equalizer.
Hmm.
And mind you, as Tosin talks, let's all remember she is Dr. Tosin and an administrator at an HBCU, proudly so. Um, and I remind people, you actually see me edit it in real time when people ask me what I do, and I'm about to give my title, and I stop short because that's not what I do. That's just a title. I always go back to, I am that person walking on campus whose purpose and passion is to get students to live up to their potential. That is what I exist for on
Hmm.
any college campus, quite
Hmm.
literally, and I love it. I love it. Okay, back to focus. Back to focus. Um, and I don't want to answer the question first. I want your thoughts on the question first. And please, based on everything that you just said, has it been an equalizer? Is education the great equalizer that our thought leaders from yesteryears and today have tried to sell us on, or successfully sold a lot of Black people on?
It's not. It's not. It's not. And if you want proof, just look at the 2024 election. There was
Wow.
somebody that was better educated. If you want proof, there are two people that are the most qualified. And if you don't believe me, you can go into the any chat GPT, Grok, whatever has a learning language model, and put who are the most qualified people on that Supreme Court. And it's two women, and it's in this order: Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson. But what do we hear? DEI or whatever, or women, because the truth of the matter is, it's hard to have a great equalizer conversation in America when the society doesn't see you as equal. It makes you feel equal, but it's not the reality. It's a, the idea of air conditioning. It's air that is conditioned so that you feel cold and you feel cool. But the truth of the matter is, it's hot outside. And I think that's the reality. Like, there is no equalizer if you're not a white male. Great equalizer, one of the most intelligent people to ever run for office, one of the most, was a white woman, Hillary Clinton. Where was her great equalizer? You know what I'm saying? All those degrees. And let me go back to the
All
black
those
men.
degrees.
I'm going back to the black folks. Whether it be the airmen in Tuskegee, whether it be the people like the Thurgood Marshalls of the world, or even the Spike Lees, right, of the world, and he is very successful. But is he giving Martin Scorsese? Is he giving that type of? Not exactly, because the truth of the matter is, it all becomes political, because who you are and what I see you as determines if I'm going to give you equalization. Because when you say equalization, what are we, or equalizer, what are we equalizing to? Who is calibrating?
Who's the standard?
Who's the
Who's the
standard?
standard?
Who's calibrating?
Who,
So
what is the standard?
I do not think it's the great equalizer. I think it could possibly do one of two things. It, it is, oh yes, it is the great anesthesia. Why do I say that? You just heard this wonderful woman say that she got her degree, bachelor's, master's, undergrad by what, 23, you said? Did your life get any easier? Okay.
No.
Thought not. That's my point. Like,
No.
but but then there are people who, but the thing is, maybe because you have doctor, and not you, but maybe because you have doctor, you don't feel like that person who might not have it, and maybe you get to take a step further. Maybe you get premium economy, so you're not quite economy, but you're not quite first either.
Yeah.
And I think that is the myth. And I don't say this to dissuade people from going to college. I actually think, young black men and young black women, this is why you need to go to college more and interact. Because what I'm seeing now is that this younger generation, like you brought up, even a Zuckerberg, even though I think it's the generation before me, but this generation is very fascinating. They're doing both. They're creating careers off of passion, but still finishing school. Megan the Stallion.
Yes.
Or they're going to school for some serious coursework, and maybe they do leave out for a little bit to go and pursue their career. Mariah the Scientist, I really literally just found out she's a rapper, or sorry, singer. She was actually in school for science. I think it's in
Okay.
NYU,
Hence,
I
is that the
believe.
name? Does
Yeah,
that wipe you
hence
out?
hence the name.
Okay.
But
I
I,
do
I
not know
think
this person at all. I'm old and I'm okay with it. Go
that's what
ahead.
I barely knew her as well. But I think the point that I'm making here is the beauty of what an HBCU is. It's a community,
Yeah.
right? And you get to kind of get a taste of the world. It's like the world light, right? Before you have to pay the full version. You get to make a couple of mistakes, have a lot of protections. Go read that student code of conduct. You are protected as a student,
Yeah.
unlike if you did some of the things that you did in real life. And I think in that space, you're able to get an education, you're in business school learning business, and you're with your friends, and you can start a business right then and there. So I think this generation has an opportunity, and I think they've exploited it, and I think it's
Yeah.
good to make it benefit them. Because again, back to life, it has to work for you.
It has to work for you. It has. So, I, as you were talking, I answered the question for myself, and I went down a laundry list. And we arrived at the same answer,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
I've never thought that a college education. Again, I'm going to keep saying college education is the great equalizer. I think that's a lie. And I think it goes back to your question, who are we equalizing to? Who are we trying to get equal to? Meaning, for it to be the great equalizer, there has to be a standard that we're being measured against, right? And let's be real, uh, Howard will always be measured against Harvard. I remember telling somebody that I, just graduated from Howard University, but they kept on saying, they kept on hearing Harvard. And you should see the glow in their eyes when they kept on thinking I said Harvard. And because, no, I'm proud of my Howard and Kentucky State University education, I corrected. I said, oh, Howard,
Mhm.
Howard. Oh, oh. That was, no, 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 for real. The response was, oh, oh. Um, but let's dig into HBCUs for a hot second. And if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. That's okay. And by the way, I've seen a number of the comments that we get on our YouTube channel with those who, when we have a critical statement to make, oh, they're in a derogatory way, there goes that HBCU education. Okay, there goes that beautiful HBCU education that allows me to think critically and actually have a rebuttal whereby I am not just going to say, because you tell me that this is what I should do and this is how I should be, that's the way it should be. So let me dig in for a
Let's
hot
do it.
second. Let's dig in for a hot second. Oh gosh, I wish I had his name. I wish I had his name. There was a Morehouse grad who denied, and I'm not going to mention the names of the scholar and fellowship programs that he denied back in the day. And he happened to be one of the valedictorians when he was graduating. And he got on that mic and he called out all of us, all the HBCUs, who, instead of us seeing the innate value in who we are and what we bring to the table, we are still chasing and continue to chase other. And fill in the blanks, whoever and whatever you want to consider other. It speaks to, let me call you out, Chinedu, for a hot second. Um, before I called you out on this a little while back, but I'm calling you
Oh
out
goodness.
publicly. He
Oh
knows where I'm
goodness.
going.
Oh
He knows where
goodness.
I'm
I
going.
knew it.
It was always the Harvard lanyard you would
Mhm.
have on you because you have a certificate from Harvard University, as do I, that nobody knows about. Because why is that the one that one proudly talks about, as opposed to your, in your case, Morgan State University lanyard, which he proudly publicizes now. Why is that always the case? We're always in this internal battle to prove to you, whoever you
You are.
is or you are, that guess what? We got this too, and we can do this too. So it's rhetorical when I ask the question why. I just want to hear you opine on why is that where we are all the time? And by the we and the us, I really do mean HBCUs who should be creating a standard that we are all proud of because we have the numbers to create the standard that we're proud of. Go.
Mm. Well, I think firstly, we have to be proud of it, not just to pontificate, but to believe in. Because at the same time, when I went to this wonderful, I was in this wonderful fellowship, thanks to shout out to the Golden Bridges Foundation and Project Pengyo. It was a China U.S. fellowship in 2017, and it was amazing. I was one of probably six Black people there. But you know what I noticed when it got time to do the work? And this is where I say, by the time we were finished, so the group that I was in, we did the best in every category. Because, and our goal was to come up with like China US relations. Like, how do we
Mm,
bring our friendship together? And I knew how to do it. And you know why? Because application. Some people had all these statistics. Who cares? How are you going to present them? Okay. Who is going to bring the life to what you know? And I
yeah.
think that is where, and when I realized at that place, I was doing these presentations, oh my God, like it was not, I was almost not even trying. And I remembered what the words of W.E.B. Du Bois said when he graduated. The pleasure was all yours. And I think in that moment, I never, my eyes weren't still set on Harvard the way it used to be, but I still wore the lanyard because That's how it's been sold.
Of course.
The greatest thing about Harvard isn't the degree, it's the marketing. Harvard could be what I've also realized, and here's another thing again. When I got my job at the federal government, and I proudly do this everywhere I go, the illustrious Morgan State University, and I always ask a question that I know the answer. You ever heard of it? They say no. I said, well, you're never gonna forget it. Because now I'm here. And I think about what makes a school, what is in the name, Shakespeare asked, what makes a school a school? The students, the fruits. And I think when you approach with, I'm more of a product, you approach, sorry, with the product saying that I am a product of, you haven't heard of the Morgan State University graduating this many black engineers and all of the things. I think it's a pride, but I think we have that pride against each other. The different HBCUs, we all Howard and Morgan, Battle of the Beltway, and that's fine. All schools have rivalries, but I think even when we rival, we still see somebody higher
Mm.
than us, and that would be the other institutions, which then, in my opinion, devalues what you've learned. Because at the end of the day, you are the only person who can make it's an institution, it's not real.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
people. It's the
Yeah.
people. It's saying that Kamala Harris went to Howard. Now you're using her. Oh, she was the VP. She was this. She was that. She ran for. Wow. Now all of a sudden, so what's Howard? Now I want to be VP. I got to go there. Now I want to
Mm.
be in Congress. That's the whole point of it. But I think we have to actually value and grade it as important and not wait for anybody else. No matter how big or small, doesn't matter. We have to give it all of its gradients.
Um, I was going to ask you, do you think that will ever occur? Don't answer that.
I won't.
Uh,
Check back with me next year.
don't don't answer that. Instead, what I want to reference is a lot of our Generation Next thought leaders, as well
Mhm.
as quite a number of the student HBCU Now guests that we have on the podcast, who and the alum. Let me not take anything away from the alum, who are very quick to say and thank you. What they love about I Love My HBCU question mark is their growing understanding of the question mark, right? Granted, I leave the question mark open to interpretation, but their growing understanding of the question mark, which, let me try to paraphrase what you just said. I love my HBCU, and you and I can sing the song.
All day.
You want to do it? Right after, right
Right after.
after, because we don't have good voices. Um, there's a famous song that we all love and we chant. It's a chant more so than a song. I love my HBCU, and it sounds beautiful, but what does love mean without the action behind it? Do you really love your HBCU if you don't speak up for the HBCU when it is consistently being compared by an institution that it is being that it is funded when it is being outfunded rather by another institution that but we're not in the same weight class here anymore if you're going to consistently compare me against X, Y, and Z. Is that there we he's okay.
I'm,
I know. Go ahead. Go ahead. Interrupt. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and to put a cherry on the top of
Put the
what you
cherry
just
on.
said,
Put the cherry on.
look at the HBCUs, sorry, look at the institutions that are currently capitulating, the ones that have some of the highest endowments in the
Endowments.
world, and they capitulate. But yet we do with less than what they have and create
Absolutely.
greatness,
Absolutely.
create
Absolutely.
marvels.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
had to throw that in there. I had to throw that in there. Super important because we shouldn't actually exist technically based on what the federal government and many state governments did to the institutions and still are doing to the institutions. Look up the HBCU equity case in Maryland. Look at the Fordyce case in Tennessee. What they're doing, and in Florida, what
Yeah.
they've done, like everything else, is supposed to stop. And that is why I think the love of an HBCU. I remember I was interviewed by the Department of Education.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, it was back when Betsy DeVoe was in there with Trump's first. They asked me questions about it, and I said, I didn't choose an HBCU. An HBCU chose me. And I don't think people understand what that means. When you walk on that campus and all of a sudden who you've always been somehow becomes personified. And you hear every story from every person. And then when you talk to friends who went to other schools, I mean, surely maybe you have better dorms and all that other stuff, but like that's not seasoning. That's not the stew. That's not what makes the school great. That's a lot of money to placate for what you don't have. And sometimes that is real
Yeah.
deep culture. And that's serious. Like, I'm serious when I say that there's something that's in an HBCU that moves all of us to bring all of these people together. And it's not just black people. Actually, if you really want to prove what I'm saying, ask the non-black students who go there and graduate
Agreed.
and see what they
Agreed.
say, juxtaposed to
Agreed.
if you ask black students who are at some of these predominantly white institutions, they don't feel involved in that history. They don't feel connected to what they offer. But when you come to HBCU, oh, they're a place for everybody.
Can I if I were not part of our conversation and I was
Hmm.
listening to us, I think the biggest takeaway for me, honestly, is ooh, I think the biggest takeaway for me, or the biggest takeaways for me, and I'm going to focus on HBCUs.
Sure,
It's I Love My HBCU after all.
absolutely.
I think that more places, more entities need to put both on the table, trade and college in high school. You need to tell me what my trade options are, tell me what my college options are. For those who end up in college, the biggest takeaway for me, honestly, and this takes me way back to our premiere episode with Luke Lawal, who is the CEO of HBCU Buzz, when he talked about what his mother shared with him. And his mother said, take your time, enjoy the process. Um, my biggest takeaway, or one of my biggest takeaways, is you must see this as a college education. You must see the life work and not the coursework. And you must take pride in the experience, all of the experience. Because guess what? As we see from a lot of our commentary online, at some of our episodes, the experience is seasoned with inefficiencies. The experience is seasoned with long lines, and the long lines are sometimes figurative. They're not always physically standing in front of a financial aid lines. Sometimes it's, why is it taking however many weeks to get an email response back? That's a line. That is a delay. I'm using line as a delay synonym. And the list goes on of what these experiences will be seasoned with. But you know what else it's going to be seasoned with? And I'll let Chinedu actually end, because he's chomping at the bits. What else is it? Give us the positives. What else is a full-throated college education going to be seasoned with once you take your time and really delve into the experience?
Goodness, real goodness. When you were talking, I couldn't help but think about one wonderful song, one of the most amazing theme songs. It's the theme songs to Good Times. The show, listen to the name of the show, Good Times. But it said at one part of it, temporary layoffs, good times.
Yeah,
Easy credit ripoffs, good times. Scratching and surviving, good times. Hanging in a child line, good times. Ain't we lucky we got them? And I think
yeah,
that is what the HBCU is. All of those things, I will say this to you, all of those things that you think are unfortunate because you are here and not there, they will shape you for the rest of your life. Because I'll tell you this, when I was at the NIH and maybe there wasn't resources, do you know who didn't get scared? Me. I said, no resources.
I've
I
been here
said,
before.
this is my first time with resources. What do
I've
you
been
mean?
here before.
And that's the thing,
I've been
because
here.
life is static. And I
Yeah.
think that is the thing about the HBCU. You learn to love and figure it out. And whilst you're there, you create experiences. The HBCU doesn't hide life. That is its competitive advantage. It doesn't hide it. We're not gilded. I don't care what school you're talking about. You're going to get it all there. And I think
Yeah.
that is what you're actually going to school for. The education, hear me correctly, because I'm going to have to break this down. The education is actually secondary. And what I mean by that, you are going to the school, not really, but yes, really. You're going to the school to get life featuring education. Because the moments that you'll never forget, 9 times out of 10 will probably have nothing to do with the Pythagorean theorem or the philosophy. Even if it is about class, it's how you had the conversation. It's how your teacher, it's those experiences. But it's good time. Do not hear me wrong. This doesn't mean waste your money. Please pay attention. I shouldn't have been in school for 7 years, but please pay attention. But at the same time, it's the greatest time of your life. And it's the last opportunity, in my opinion, that you get to be in such a structured place, especially at an HBCU, where you are the majority Black boy and Black girl. You'll probably never see that again.
So, Chinedu, this, like as I said, this is our last summer episode, which means right about the time when
They're
everybody
starting.
gets to hear us talk about this, they're already starting. What do you want to say to the incoming students fall 2025 at any and every HBCU in the country? What's your message to them?
Welcome home. I've opened the door for you because somebody built the frame of that door for me. Gracefully walk through that door, but make sure you leave another part for whoever's coming next.
In one word, you know I've got to end it this way.
Um, Good luck. Good luck.
In one word or short phrase, a college degree. I keep making the distinction between a college education and a college degree. We're back to just the degree. A college degree is only powerful if
You know how to wield what you've learned.
to everyone listening to the sound of my voice, to everyone who did us the honor of tuning in on YouTube, it has been an amazing summer with all of you, and I look forward to season 3. Oh my gosh.
Me too.
If you're hearing me, here's hoping you're already subscribed. And come on, how do you not like this episode with our very own CNN, Chinedu Nnamdi Nwokiafor, as our guest? Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. Chinedu, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you so kindly.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.